This is Ryan from Perfect by Definition, and we're here right now with Kevin Reilly. We're interviewing him for the series that we're starting called Learning from the Pros, and he's an NGA pro, and he also just the Muscle Mayhem. That was a pro qualifier. Was that a pro qualifier or?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And he just recently won the Muscle Mayhem. He competed against Lovato and Ogus, right?
Well, Lovato went up against the overall against Ogus. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's pretty sweet. Now, what are you doing? What are you planning on doing now that you're a pro bodybuilder from the NGA? Are you going to further that? Or are you going to compete in any other contests, or what are you planning on doing with your career?
With my NGA pro card, I'd like to go back to Boise, where I first did my very first competition, and that's where I turned pro. So I kind of want to go back there as a pro and do their pro show and kind of see how I fare there. I don't know if I'm going to do it this spring or not, but that's definitely on my mind.
Okay, that's pretty awesome, man. Now, did you prepare for your competition with 3D Muscle Journey? I see you talking about them a lot.
I did, yep. I've been with 3D Muscle Journey since I did after my very first show. When I did that show, that NGA Northwest in Boise, the spring show, I met Brian Miner, who was with 3D Muscle Journey, and he told me all about him. And so as soon as I got home, I looked him up, and I was like, man, these guys are legit. So I signed up with him, and Alberto Nunez, my coach, and we've been working together ever since, and it's been great, man.
Wow, that's awesome. So how long have you been lifting for?
I've been lifting for about 8 years,
okay.
But, kind of like bro lifting,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Going in the gym and hitting upper body and
yeah.
Kind of not paying attention to my legs and stuff. So, like, seriously lifting, to train for contests for, I'd say, just over 2 years.
Okay. Wow. That's not, like training seriously, that's really not that long at all for someone who's a pro bodybuilder.
Yeah, it's not that long, but, I think working with 3DMJ and those guys really helped me out because, I never used to do as much like leg work and deadlifts and stuff like that.
Yeah. And
they really incorporate all that stuff, and that's really helped me out too.
Oh yeah, you can tell that you deadlift just looking at your lower back compared to the two competitors side by side. It really separates you from your other competitors. Was that from heavy deadlifts, or is there a certain exercise that you do other than that?
I think it's a lot of heavy deadlifting, and I think that's the majority of it. So I incorporated a lot of rows this time around,
okay.
To try to bring up a little more back width and stuff like that. But I think the deadlifts have really helped because I just started doing them like the last year, so
okay.
It's really helped.
Wow. So what really separated you from the competition was your arms. Now, arms are obviously your favorite body part to train. Is there anything out of the ordinary that you really do with your arm routine, or is it just you just love them, you hit them frequently, and they just grow?
What's funny is that I don't even really hit arms, to tell you the truth.
Really? Wow.
This prep I did upper lower splits, and I did one bicep routine and 3 tricep exercises for the whole week. Wow. So honestly, I don't even hit my arms because I think they're a stronger point. Yeah. I think I have decent genetics in my arms, so I try not to hit them as much because I don't want them to overpower.
Yeah.
On my upper body, because I still have weaknesses that I need to bring up, like my chest and back width and stuff like that. So I try to work with that more than hitting arms harder and getting them to grow even more.
So did you know that before you decided to go into your competition? Was that your focus before you were going to approach the Muscle Mayhem?
As far as bringing up like back width and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Or did the 3D muscles
Yeah.
on you guys?
That was definitely targeted. We wanted to bring up a little more back width, chest a little bit, and then definitely work on our legs a little more, get a little more separation and size.
So you basically just increase the frequency of hitting the muscle, so you're just hitting it more often, like your chest and your back, with the upper and lower splits.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Yep, definitely more back volume and leg volume, and yeah. So we worked on that, and it helped because I think I was. I want to say contest. When I stepped on stage, I was a couple pounds heavier, a little bit bigger. I think a little bit more conditioned than when I turned pro in Boise. So I think we got it dialed in pretty good.
Okay. So before your contest prep, what was your weight at?
My heaviest weight was 196 when I was in my off season.
Wow, that's not that heavy. You look a lot bigger than that. That's crazy.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
We tried to keep it a little bit lower just because, when you get into contest prep, I don't like to cut like 220. Like 220 because it's too much, man. You gotta, if you're gonna start there, you got to start like 20 weeks out or more to really. And I don't like to diet that hard, because like my lowest macros on my carbs and stuff were like 400, so I'm good with that.
So are you doing a reverse diet right now? Now that you say that.
Yeah, yep. I'm starting to reverse out from this was my one and only contest. It's harder for me because a lot of guys do more than one.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm a family of I got 4 kids. I'm pretty busy with work and stuff, so trying to schedule my vacations around contests and stuff is hard. So, I have to really kind of pick 1 to 2 shows and really get dialed in with 1 or 2 instead of 4 or 5 or 6 shows.
How do you manage your time with all these kids and with work? And how do you find time to work out? I mean, do you have to really cut down on your sleep? Is that one of the big things?
Not so much. I work in the town that I live in, and I'm on a set schedule, which is nice. So I work a swing shift, which is 3 to 11. So I tend to get all my stuff done in the mornings. I get my workouts done fairly early in the mornings, and then with all my food prep and everything else, chasing the kids around, it gets a little hectic. I'm not gonna lie, but my wife got a really good wife, and she stays home with the kids, and she's amazing. She helps out a lot as far as taking care of the kids and help me with my food prep, and so I couldn't do it without her.
Wow, does she compete as well?
She does. She's competed with me in Boise in the past 2 that I did, and she does bikini.
Okay.
So she's into it. She likes it.
That's awesome. That'd be great to have a relationship with someone that you can bond in that way. The bond that are you guys gym partners, or I mean the support that you guys can give each other just from pure empathy. It probably forms an amazing bond. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure, because we know what we're going through. I mean, in other relationships, you got one competitor. That can get a little tough, because I've seen it. But I mean, we're on the same page, and that's awesome.
That's great.
So it's very cool. We're not gym partners. Yeah. She likes to go early in the morning, so she can get whipped out, and I tend to go a little bit later on. But definitely, it's awesome having somebody that knows what you're going through.
Yeah. So how long did you prep for exactly?
16 weeks was the prep for the Mayhem.
Wow, it's not too long, not too short, but
yeah, it was pretty average. It was my one of my longest preps I think I've done, but I wanted to really be, make sure I came in ready.
Yeah.
This is big for me. I mean, the Mayhem was like when my coach was like, "Yeah, you should do the Mayhem." Man, I considered it a long shot in the past because it's just such a huge show to me. So
yeah,
I really wanted to come in ready. So
congrats, man.
16 weeks. What's that?
I say congrats, man. You did everything you had to do, and you won it. It's awesome.
Thank you.
What was your approach towards your peak week?
My peak week, it wasn't too drastic. We increased carb it on peak week slowly in the beginning, and then kind of tapered them down when I got to, because I live in Montana, so I had to travel to California. So we kind of tapered them down once I got there on Thursday, held them through Friday, and then Saturday we bumped them a little bit in the morning. And then when I did pre-judging, I came in a little flat. So after pre-judging, I doubled my carb intake off my first meal. We kind of just went back through the meals again.
Okay.
And so I doubled my carb intake off my first meal, and then I filled out quite a bit, and then into the night show. So that helped for the overall, I think, pretty well.
So what types of foods were you eating during the time where you were carbing up? And were you eating some like healthy fats, or just fats in general too?
I was eating like on Friday and Saturday and stuff. I was eating just a lot of sweet potatoes.
Okay.
Rice cakes. Stuff like that. That was easy for me to get, because I couldn't bring all that food with me, so I just had to run to the closest store and grab the easiest carb source for me. So I stuck with sweet potatoes and rice cakes.
Yeah, I mean that's not too bad. There's some people who eat Pop-Tarts, and some people who eat sugary cereals. Now, do you feel like you fill out better on slow digesting carbs or like simple sugars?
I stuck with slower digest. I stuck with sweet potatoes, and then I ate a lot of fruit too, I should say. So I kind of mixed in my sweet potatoes and fruit, bananas and stuff, and that seemed to help.
So just carbs in general, pretty much.
just carbs in general.
Wow.
Yeah.
And all right, now we're gonna have to get to something that you have to explain to everyone. A lot of people have questions on this. Your belly button tattoo. Where does that come from?
That was when I was 21 years old, and thought it'd be cool to get a sign around my belly button. I don't know. I was thinking, man, that's one of those things that you wish you could take that back, but it's not coming out. It's there.
That's awesome, man. Wait, what is that green? It kind of looked like it matched your green trunks.
Yeah, it's kind of like a bluish, greenish. It's terrible. It's terrible.
No, dude, it's unique. There's nothing wrong with that, man. All right. Do you feel like there's any major myths when it comes to bodybuilding that a lot of people believe that you could shatter right now just by being a pro status bodybuilder and having all this experience? Tough question.
I don't know. Yeah, that's a tough question. I mean, myths as far as like what?
Just anything. Training, supplements. Yeah. Potential.
I'd have to say probably diet. Mm-hmm. I used to do the bro diet, where it was all fish and sweet potatoes and green beans, and that's it, brown rice, and that's all I could eat. But working with 3DMJ, they really opened my eyes to if it fits your macros, man.
Yeah, definitely.
I tend to eat. I still gotta pay attention to some stuff. Just don't be eating, cheesecake all the time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So for me, that was an eye opener, being able to eat a lot more food and kind of really enjoy your prep more than just being miserable and eating just the same 3 foods day in and day out.
Okay.
So.
All right. Now, when it comes to supplements, obviously supplements make up a very little amount of your results, if anything. What are your favorite supplements to use? What do you feel are the most effective?
I stay pretty basic. I definitely use a whey protein. I think that's pretty essential. It's sometimes it's quick for me just to grab a whey shake, and take that with me and use that protein source, or to make up your macros for your protein. Whey is important to me. When I get deep into prep, I use my BCAAs, I like Extend. I like to use that. I do take some creatine, you know, and then my multivitamins, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's,
you know,
that's very basic.
I don't get too crazy with the supplements because, you know, honestly, most of them really don't affect you that much. I mean, it's not going to make or break you if you're not taking any and all supplements out there. You know, half of them are whack anyway. So
yeah, that's very, very true. Now with the BCAAs, it doesn't. I feel like Extend has a low leucine content, and I prefer. I don't even really think BCAAs are as essential as say creatine, which isn't even that essential. But I try to look for one with a high leucine content because that's the amino acid that really sparks protein synthesis. So that's what I would go for. I've yet to find one that has a good taste, has a high leucine content, and is like affordable. So I tend to stay away from BCAAs generally.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said that you are 195 in your off season. Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah, the highest was like 196.
196.
In my off.
Okay. So where did you come from? Like how much did you weigh when you started?
Well, like when I started lifting and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of funny. Like in high school, I was a pretty small kid. You know, as a freshman, I wrestled at 98 pounds. As a senior, I was like, you know, 135, 140 pounds maybe. And then I went to the military and put on some size because we did a lot of work. And I really took it for granted now that I look back at it because some of the best gyms I ever worked out at were on our base, you know. And I really got into it when in the military and I started lifting and putting on more weight. But when I came out, I kind of stopped for a while and then got back into it. And I was probably 160 pounds when I started up.
Okay.
And then just kind of went from there and started putting on size and liked the results and kept her going.
Wow. Did you see any major plateaus when you're in that process, and how'd you break them if you saw any?
I didn't see a lot of plateaus. You know, like sometimes I would level off weight-wise and thought I'd just eat more food and get bigger, and I got bigger, but it wasn't necessarily a good bigger.
Yeah,
you know?
I know what you mean.
Stronger, but not a good bigger. So it kind of opened my eyes when I started working with RedeemJ and kind of staying on that level, you know, trying to build lean mass, but not getting crazy in your off season, you know, kind of trying to build that lean mass versus just the fat, you know.
Yeah, that's a new approach that people are starting to realize is really optimal towards gaining size and just competing in general. A lot of people used to take the bulking cutting approach, where like bulking, they're going all out, you know, slamming their face with food, and then cutting, they're just, you know, shredding down. But now people are saying, okay, we need to reverse diet. You know, the scientific aspect is really getting into it. And when you reverse diet, try to stay as lean as possible during the off season, so then you're not killing yourself during contest prep, you know. So I feel like that's definitely the best approach.
For sure, yeah, because like this time around, you know, I was still doing, you know, I wouldn't say a lot of cardio, but you know, when you're leaner, you don't have to kill yourself doing cardio and in the workouts and on the diet, and it just makes it an easier prep, you know.
How many times a week were you doing cardio during your prep?
I started doing it once a week, and I was doing it once a week for, I'd say like 8 weeks, like almost half my prep. I was doing it once a week, 500 calorie burn, and then I bumped it up after that to four sessions of 500 calories, and I finished with that.
All right. How many calories were you burning during the first 8 weeks per session? Like, what type of cardio were you doing? High intensity interval training, low steady state, slow steady state cardio?
Yeah, I was like a steady state cardio, and I was doing just one 500 calorie session a week.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Looks like the connection's getting messed up a little bit. What was the most challenging part of your prep?
I'd say like towards the end, it's always it's like the last 4 weeks, because my fats drop off. Like in my off season, my fats are at 100 grams, and I'm taking in 700 grams of carbs and 250 grams of protein, so it's pretty high. And when I get deeper into prep, my fats cut down quite a bit. They're usually at 40. So, when you get deeper into it, I'd say my last 4 weeks, I start to drag a little bit.
Okay.
So then doing my workouts and then my cardio sessions on top of it sometimes get a little rough after a tough leg day, but usually just the last 4 weeks for me are tough, but I always keep my eye on the prize, and just push hard. I know what's coming, so it's definitely a motivator.
So 3D Muscle Journey really opened your eyes. Would you consider yourself, before you started teaming up with 3D Muscle Journey, do you think you were pretty uneducated compared to what they taught you?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I didn't know what I was doing diet-wise. I'd look up stuff, and go off what somebody else is doing, basically, and that's really not the approach to take at all. I got down, fairly well for doing it myself, but the conditioning from my first show to now is night and day. I mean, I couldn't do it without, the help of these guys from, 3DMJ. They're some of the best group of guys out there as far as contest prep and really just guys in general. I mean, they're supportive in any questions you have, and it's just it's a second family for me, really.
Wow, that's awesome. So it must help a lot having a coach for your contest prep.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I have my meltdowns, and he's definitely there to reassure me that we're on track.
That's good.
So it's always nice to have somebody there to tell you that.
So do they keep their eyes on you like throughout your whole entire off season too? Since you're a sponsored athlete by them, right?
Oh yeah, yep.
Okay. So they.
Yeah. Yep. I got sponsored this year by 3DMJ, and super honored because as far as I'm concerned, and they got an award this year at the Mayhem. So as far as I'm concerned, they're the best contest prep coaches out there, hands down. So yeah. Definitely. And they look at me. Yeah, they look at me all throughout the off season. I'll send progress pictures or whatever, and we'll kind of assess and see where my weight's at, and see how my workouts are going, and then kind of assess where we're going with it. So.
All right. How many times did you compete before you got your pro card?
Twice.
Twice.
My second I did my first contest in Boise as a novice, and then the fall show, the second one that I did the open and won the open and the overall and got my pro card there.
Wow, that's awesome. So did you really? How did just like stepping on stage your first time and competing? How did that change your view on bodybuilding as a sport?
I loved it, man. I mean, stepping on stage was something that I was scared to do, honestly. I mean, I think I could have competed a lot earlier than I did, and I kind of wish I would have, because I think I would be farther now.
Okay. At
a younger age, but it was the right time for me because I, kind of got past that mental block and decided, let's do it. So, stepping on stage the first time was pretty nerve-wracking for me, but after it was all said and done with, I loved it, man. And just after that, I just was like, man, we gotta go bigger and better. Wow. So it just kind of blew up, and I kind of just took off with it and just really enjoy it. So
that's awesome.
That's my thing.
Wow. How old were you your first time you competed?
Let's see, I was 30. I must have been 31.
31.
And I was 31.
Okay. You've been doing bodybuilding since the start.
Yeah.
You didn't do physique or anything like that?
No, I've never done I've never done physique or anything. No.
What would you say?
Yeah, just bodybuilding.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I just bodybuilding because I entered my first show as a novice and then into open after that.
Okay. What would you say would be like the main requirements for someone, no matter how old they are, if they're thinking about going into a bodybuilding competition? What would you say is a good like checklist to make sure that you have when you're about to step on stage? Not when you're about to step on stage, but when you make the decision to finally compete.
I would just make sure it's something that you really enjoy doing, and that something that you're gonna see through and be there the whole way through. Really love the sport, I guess. Because otherwise, it could get pretty miserable for a guy. To be honest, the prep can get a little bit miserable if you really don't love it. So I would say just first and foremost, really love the sport and have fun. Go out there and have fun.
Well, okay, that's great insight, man. Yeah, I'm planning on competing in bodybuilding in 2 years and physique in 1 year because I want to add a little bit more mass to my physique. And, right now I'm focused on gaining knowledge, just purely gaining knowledge. I have my training down, I have my diet down, and I'm working on my NFCA certification for personal training right now. I'm slamming through that book, reading like 50 pages a day. And I'm about to take that test. I'm probably going to take it next week. And, yeah, I just can't wait, man. I'm already helping a guy out. He's competing in October 5th. He's competing. I'm helping out with his contest prep. So I just turned 18, and like I'm just trying to get into this sport as much as I can. It seems awesome. It's a great mental challenge and a great physical challenge too. And there's no doubt this is one of the hardest sports out there that you could possibly do.
Yeah, it's all on you. You make it happen. So, but it's definitely a great sport. You're right, and I think it's awesome that you're getting into it so young, so early. I wish I would have done that, and I think you're making a good, good decision. I think it's cool.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
I wish you the best of luck in all your contests.
Wow, thanks so much, man. I'll definitely keep in contact with you and tell you how I do, and seek advice if I need it. But I'm gaining knowledge pretty fast.
Oh.
You gain knowledge. You make gains in your brain much faster than you make it in your body. That's for sure. But it's awesome.
Definitely, without a doubt. Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, thanks a lot for joining us. And I cannot thank you enough for this. It was a great opportunity for me and for all the fans that are going to see and learn from your experience. So, thanks a lot. And I'll talk to you later, man. Have a great day.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, and keep in touch and let me know how it goes.
All right, sweet, man. Looking forward to it.
All right, have a good one.
You too. Peace.